That may have been the guttiest effort of the season. Forget May. Guttiest effort of the season for the Golden State Warriors, missing two of their best four players, and they take down the best team in the Western Conference in a game where Shai Gilgeous-Alexander went for 52 points. How did the Warriors win this game? Let's dissect it.
Who can stop Steph Curry?
Hopefully we'll never find out.
There's not many defenses in the world that can stop him.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is the good word, everyone? Welcome into Locked On Warriors, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Golden State Warriors victorious 116-109 over the now 37-10 Oklahoma City Thunder. How about that performance for the Golden State Warriors today? You can find the show wherever you get your audio podcasts. Also streaming live on YouTube. If you're chilling with us live, give us that thumbs up, hop in the comments, and be a part of this show. Newsletter, LockedOnDaily.com. You can get that delivered to your inbox for free, LockedOnDaily.com. Guttiest effort of the season, Matt Kolsky. He's my co-host today, formerly at 95.7 The Game and KNBR. My name, Charlie Walter, formerly at 95.7 The Game and CBS News Bay Area. I mean, a team effort as a whole. Let's not bury the lead. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander went for 52 points. The amount of times that he can get to the line in a game is just incredible, and then knocks down his free throws. But for the Warriors, we had Dennis Schroeder playing D like a madman. We had a pod step-back fadeaway that was a thing of beauty. We had Wiggins attacking all night. He led the way with 27. Curry, big threes in the second half. Buddy had one of the worst starts you will ever see in the first half and ended up flipping this game in the third quarter. He had 5 points and 4 assists in the first 5 minutes of the quarter, and it really changed the game. Shout out, Buddy. Slow-mo had an MJ fadeaway. Looney, a casual 18 points. That's a career high. At least it ties a career high. And then Gary Payton finishes it off with a facial, Kolsky. This was some champagne that we got for Eagles-Niners a couple of years ago. And obviously Brock Purdy got hurt, the shoulder. We didn't get a chance to pop it. Same market, man. Same market. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not about the win. It's just about the way that they played, man. I mean, what a game. I love good basketball. That was excellent.
It was awesome. You saved the best for last, if you ask me. That was an absolute masterpiece from Kevon Looney. Not only 18 points, which, as you said, ties a career high, but 8 of 9 from the free throw line. And some of those were big free throws. I mean, they needed him to score because Steph Curry was double and triple teamed all night long, and he was finding Looney open. And, yeah, man, you got to love Kevon Looney. If I told you before the game Kevon Looney's going to be a difference maker, you'd have said, like, all right, you know, there's a 9-point, 23 rebound performance on deck, right?
2 boards down the stretch.
Yeah.
Right?
18 points, 3 boards, none offensive. Like, Kevon Looney is all-time elite at providing exactly whatever you need from him. I mean, he, you know, the ceiling on who he is as a player is well established. He's not going to be an all-star, but there are very few guys that I can remember watching who seem to have such specific profiles and yet manage to do exactly what you need at any given moment almost all the time. It's no wonder Steve Kerr loves the guy so much. And this was just awesome from him tonight. But like you said, I mean, it was pretty much everybody except our guy Quentin Post. It was pretty much everybody else. And, you know, I texted you middle of the third quarter as they were looking pretty good. They're going to need Steph to have a run here to win this game. And sure enough, he came through too. I mean, it really was an awesome game to watch. And
it was awesome, man.
It's the sort of game that gives you, first of all, I think it buys you momentum, but it buys the team another week or two of like people not falling into complete disarray over them while they try to get healthy. And it also just makes you believe that, like, man, that the core of what you need to compete for real is still here. It just all needs to be on the floor meaningfully together, and then you can see what you have. But that was fun. No complaints. 5-star game.
Yeah, we're both fans of good basketball, and look, it's a season that's felt stale at times, right? There have just been games where offensively the Warriors couldn't do anything down the stretch. Been bodies on and off the floor all season. There haven't been, I mean, have we gotten a game winner yet this season, a buzzer beater or anything like that down the stretch?
I don't think so. And you know, it was that final stretch tonight where you held them off, and
OKC had all the momentum, right? They brought it. Let's finish the game there, because it was 2 huge offensive foul calls on the Warriors, up 8 with 2:40 to go when they have the first offensive foul. The Thunder cut it all the way down to 3 with about 2 minutes left. I looked at Kylan and said, the Warriors are going to do it again, babe. The Warriors are going to do it again. Then Curry hits a 3. Then Wiggins hits a 3. Then it's the Peyton poster. Man, in a season that has felt stale at times, this was anything but, man. It was a lot of fun. And at least for one night, Warriors fans can hope again, because that looked like winning basketball.
Yeah, and it was Schroeder making the play for Peyton on that dunk too. I mean, just really everything you would want from this team down the stretch, where it doesn't require Steph Curry to go full hero mode. I mean, obviously he hit about a 37-footer to kick that little run off, but you know, makes a play, gets the ball to Wiggins, who hits a tough 3, and then the Peyton dunk on penetration from Schroeder. Just like things worked tonight. Other than the first quarter offense, it felt like they knew what they wanted to do, and they did a pretty good job of executing it. You know, there was nothing about tonight that felt out of character, or, you know, oh, I can't believe they pulled that off. They'll never do that again, right? They caught
one stat, Kolsky. The 23 at 28 from the line for 82% for a team that hasn't knocked them down at all consistently. That's impressive. And the folks that hit them, I mean, Peyton 5 of 5, Looney 8 of 9. Nice.
You're right. That one is weird. that one's a little weird. But to be fair, like, you would hope that the guys who will be regularly shooting free throws on this team moving forward are going to be 75% and above, you know. Looney's not that guy, but you don't expect him to shoot 9 free throws ever, much less in a week, much less a game. So you're right. That's a little bit of an outlier, but it's not like they shot the ball great. It wasn't a great shooting night. It wasn't like they were, you know, perfect in the turnover department. What they did do was compete like hell all night long, play really good defense in the second half. And, you know, if you play good enough defense, even if the other team has one guy that's absolutely unstoppable, you can win the game. Because that, I mean, we could go on about the Warriors, but also worth mentioning, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander
he's pretty good. He's
my
good,
God.
Isn't it crazy that, because I always name drop my Kentucky days back in my my humble days in Lexington at the NBC affiliate there. And the first team I got to cover was Shai. It was Kevin Knox. It was PJ Washington, Nick Richards, bunch of those guys. And Knox, for like the majority of the season, was the guy. And then somewhere halfway through the season, Cal at a presser said, like, Shai's our best player. And Matt Jones and everyone on KSR was like, absolutely not. Shai's not your best player. So the coaches knew before the fans did, because it's just so methodical how he scores. You know, he gets 20 in his sleep, 52, 21 free throws he shot. 21 free throws.
And he only took 6 threes. I mean, 52 points. He only attempted 6 threes.
What do you think of his whistle?
He gets a really nice whistle, but he does also draw a lot of contact. And you earn a whistle like that. I mean, look, I hated James Harden's whistle as much as the next guy, right? But I was going to say he earned it. I don't know if that's quite the right word, but he acquired it by creating a ton of contact. And that's what Shai's doing.
Position, right? You got to put yourself in position to get lucky, they say.
Well, but also, like, it's not luck. 21 free throws is a lot, and I probably could have pointed to 4 or 5 tough calls.
There was a Pods foul in the first half that it looked like he didn't even touch him. But
there were a few, but then there's 6 or 8 more that were definitely fouls.
For sure.
Because he is getting in there, and he is so, like, elusive in small spaces. The way he contorts his body and the long wingspan and his control of the ball, both in the air and once he picks up his dribble, he is so tough to stop. It's similar in some ways, although it looks totally different, to what Luka does. He's just going to get to wherever the hell he wants to go, and he's a remarkable shot maker on top of it. Now, Luka also shoots threes, which probably is, the edge I'd give him over Shai, but Shai plays defense. And man, if that guy's not the MVP, it's only because there's so much unbelievable talent in the league right now, because what he can do is unreal.
All right, let's continue breaking down this game on the show today. We will get into a little bit of the article that came out earlier. Anthony Slater, Marcus Thompson talking about the Warriors still being in the mix with some high-profile names. We'll bleed into that, but we're going to milk this thing as long as possible. We could talk about this one for days, man. Warriors 116, Thunder 109. Warriors have been in every single game with the Thunder this year. I mean, they were a possession or two away from, 3-0 against this team. And the Mavericks are the only other team in the NBA that have had their way with the Thunder. Aside from that, Thunder have won every single game, literally. I mean, they lost to the Cavs and the Bucks and maybe one other team, but that is it this season. They have been rolling. So we're continuing the conversation on a big win that's coming up.
Forget that. We champs. Why are you starting with that question? We got 4 championships.
This is a message from sponsor Intuit TurboTax. Taxes was waiting and wondering and worrying if you were going to get any money back, and then waiting, wondering, and worrying some more. Now Taxes is matching with TurboTax Expert, who can do your taxes as soon as today. An expert who gives your taxes their undivided attention as they work on your return. You get real-time updates on their progress. You can focus on your day. An expert who will find you every deduction possible and file every form, every investment, everything with 100% accuracy. All so you can get the most money back guaranteed. No waiting, no wondering, no worries. Now this is Taxes. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com. Only available with TurboTax Live Full Service. Real-time updates only in iOS mobile app. See guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantee.
I don't give a damn about no damn Drake night.
For the Oklahoma City Thunder, they got 2 really good players, outstanding players. They have a good nucleus. They have a really good offensive rebounding team, at least from what we saw today, with 17 total compared to the Warriors 7. We know consistently they turn teams over. They protect the basketball. They're pretty much good at everything as a team. They also have a ton of assets if they wanted to make a move moving forward, but erroneous right now, irrelevant. Jalen Williams, one of their stars, he had 26, 12 of 26 from the floor, 2 of 6 from 3, 7 rebounds. We all know him from his days in Santa Clara. That guy is a star. And then the 52 for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Isaiah Joe also with 5 threes in the game and hit them at very costly times for the Warriors, but the Dubs were able to hang on. Those were the only 3 in double figures for the Thunder. For the Warriors, Wiggins led the way with 27, 10 of 17 shooting, 5 of 8 from 3, 4 rebounds, a couple of assists. Steph Curry had 21, most of them in the second half. He was struggling early, but finished 5 of 10 from 3, 4 assists in the game and a steal. 15 points for Gary Payton, 18 for Kevon Looney, and 11 for Brandon Pajemski. It rounds out the scoring. I got to tell you, man, because we were talking before the game. I was doing the hypothetical trade rumors with the story coming out that the Golden State Warriors are seriously considering putting some first-round draft capital into the mix moving forward. And one of the names that was brought up is Zach LaVine. And obviously, Zach LaVine is an incredible scorer, a completely different skill set than a guy like Andrew Wiggins. But I brought up, would that be something that makes sense to where you've already said you're not going to trade Kuminga. You could slide Kuminga into the 3. You got LaVine at the 2. We thought maybe Quentin Post could play the 5 based on how he played today. And really in the last game, I mean, maybe he has a lot more work than we thought prior. We will see there.
I'm not too worried about Post really quickly. Just he caught a couple tough breaks, took a couple tough calls, had that brutal one for Shai in the lane. No, the defensive one where he slapped Shai on the hand. But anybody could get beat by Shai like that. He was bad tonight, but I still like him as a relevant piece of this team for the rest of the year. But go ahead.
Okay,
sorry.
Fair enough. Yeah, Quentin Post interjects there, but Andrew Wiggins was the main talking point.
Yeah,
because Andrew Wiggins would probably have to be involved in that trade to make the money work. I sent you one, I think, that worked without Andrew Wiggins, but it was like 5 to get one back. That you can't do that, roster construction. You just cannot do that. And I'm sitting there in the fourth quarter of the game. I'll get quick to the point. I'm sitting there in the fourth quarter of the game, and I'm saying, why the hell would you give up Andrew Wiggins, man? When he is playing like this, which he's done pretty consistently this year, it's a silent 27. Today it was a loud 27. Usually it's a silent 17. But, man, this guy can play.
I mean, here's the issue. We're basically talking about Jimmy Butler or Zach LaVine, right? And because those are the guys you would have to put Wiggins in to get the money up, right? And even then, you're going to have to add a couple more pieces. No other team can take on 5 guys when they're giving up 1. So those trades don't really work, right?
I think Butler's all smoke. I think that's all smoke. It doesn't make sense. LaVine makes sense.
I'm just saying, if we're talking about those 2 guys, they both have their drawbacks. For Jimmy, it's more about age and health. For LaVine, it's more about defense and the price tag. What they both do that Andrew Wiggins, despite his many good qualities, does not, is give you a legitimate bucket getter in tough situations with consistency. And, Butler's 36. In the case of Zach LaVine, honestly, man,
3-level score, man.
I watched that guy. I've seen most of the games in Zach LaVine's career, okay? And I really think the guy has gotten a tough reputation given what he can do. He is, and I know this is damning with faint praise, but he's at least the equal of Buddy Hield defensively, which is to say he's moving around out there. He's not Jordan Poole or on defense, right? He's big enough to put a hand up in people's face, and he's quick enough to be around. He's not a good defender. He's not even an average defender, but it's not embarrassing out there. Okay. So I think his, so
114.3 is his defensive rating. If you take that into measure.
Yeah, but defensive rating takes into account how much people score when you're on the floor, and everybody scores all the time against the Chicago Bulls, in part because of their center who plays no defense. Anyway, I'm not making the argument Zach LaVine's a good defender. I'm just saying he's not Jordan Poole out there. On offense, he legitimately is as dangerous a scorer as all but 5 or 7 players in the whole entire league. Nobody can stay in front of him. He is, at 29 years old, still quick enough, athletic enough to beat anyone off the dribble. He is still one of the most vertical guards in the league in terms of playing above the rim. He is shooting 44% or something like that from three, and he's been in the 40% neighborhood for several years now. He's having his best season scoring outside of three-point shooting. He's 50% overall this year. And here's the thing. He takes a lot of tough shots because of the situation he's been in his whole career.
Mm-hmm. And how would he fit into this offense?
Beautifully. He's not a guy who's afraid to move the ball.
Beautiful.
And he's an incredible cutter off the ball. Like, Zach LaVine would put an absolute rocket engine in this offense. And look, Andrew Wiggins can have some nice nights. And usually the feeling at the end of that night is, man, I wish he would do that more often. When Zach LaVine has a scoring night like Andrew Wiggins had tonight, that's just Wednesday, right? So that's why you would make the deal. But if you're gonna make the argument to me that it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other, that Andrew Wiggins, yes, you cannot count on him to be a bucket getter down the stretch of games. You cannot count on him to bring aggressive offense every night, but you can count on him to defend the best wing scorer on the other team every night. Which one's worth more? You know, LaVine certainly gives the Warriors something they need and is a more traditional star profile in the league. Am I positive you're a better team exchanging Wiggins for LaVine, especially if you also have to send a guy like Looney out the door? No, I'm not positive. I think for LaVine, I would try it because I'm personally a fan of his, and I would love to see what Curry and LaVine can do offensively next to each other, especially if Kuminga's in there too. Mm-hmm. And LaVine is 29.
He's young. He's 29. You have him for a couple of years. And so many times in the NBA, you look at a player that's in a bad situation, that's on a bad team, and you kind of hold it against him, right? But you got to envision like what he could become in the system. And it was just 3 years ago where the Bulls had one of the best records in the NBA through the first half of the season, and in large part due to the way Zach LaVine was playing. He's been healthy all year. There is a lot to like there. And then the one argument that you can make, and Wiggins has been awesome. It would be no knock on Andrew Wiggins. It would just be about fit. And that fit is because you have a guy, Jonathan Kuminga, when healthy, was coming off the bench that we think can play the same position as Andrew Wiggins. That's where you say, is Kuminga a 4? Can he play the 3? We'll see, but clearly they have something at least up their sleeve in terms of what they would do, because it's seriously sounding like out of the Vooch and out of the LaVine and out of the Jimmy Butler, like this LaVine one's picking up steam, and it could actually happen.
Well, here's what I would say too, is the real issue in terms of the positional problem the Warriors have had all year long is that right now, Kuminga, Wiggins, and Draymond, when you're healthy, are 3 of your 5 best players. And it's basically, in order to put them on the floor together, Draymond has to play center, right? And they don't want to put Draymond through that for a good reason, I think, given that he's sitting out right now because his body's not holding up. There's no way to solve that. So if you're committed to Kuminga, as they say they are, and Draymond is obviously a part of what they have planned for the next couple seasons, I think Wiggins just kind of becomes the odd man out there in terms of it doesn't make a ton of sense to play those 3 guys together at the 2, 3, 4. So if you can replace Wiggins with a guy who's a natural fit at the 2, you know, again, right now, and there's no reason for me to assume it would be different if they were fully healthy, because Kuminga was coming off the bench right before he got hurt, right? Buddy Hield is their starting shooting guard. So
for all the Warriors fans out there, they're saying play him less, find someone to take that spot. You know who would slide into that spot from day one. And then you could talk about putting Podziemski at the backup shooting guard position. If you're keeping Schroeder, you don't have Podziemski as a primary ball handler.
And you would be asking Kuminga to take on the Wiggins role of defending the best wing player on the opposing team, and he's a reasonable candidate to do that. And I think, he'll be asked to do less on offense if Zach LaVine is here. So I think he can probably handle that defensive assignment. Will he be as good as Wiggins? No. But does the 5 with LaVine make more sense as a basketball team than the 5 with Wiggins? I think maybe it does.
Fair enough. Conversation done. We are getting back to the game. Golden State wins it by 7. Some keynotes that we found out today. How did the Warriors get this done? Well, one thing, it was the secret sauce. We're going to talk about the secret sauce. You already know what it is. It's not Buddy Hield's.
It's mayo and ketchup. It's always just mayo and ketchup. Thousand Island.
Fancy sauce, as they like to say. What movie is that from? The fancy sauce?
I don't know.
Oh, it's Step Brothers.
Oh,
he's like, remember Will Ferrell? He's like, yeah, fancy sauce. Ketchup and mayo. Try it. Locked On Warriors continue.
I don't give a damn about no damn Drake night.
Attending NFL playoff games is an unforgettable experience that brings fans together. I covered many for CBS News Bay Area for the 49ers. My team growing up was the Bengals. I actually had a chance to go to 2. Traveled up to Indianapolis, which was like 90 minutes from Cincinnati, and Andy Dalton stunk, and the Bengals lost. I also went to one against the Steelers in Cincinnati, and Jeremy Hill fumbled with like a minute left. Roethlisberger down the field. Anyways, my playoff experience is not great, but the 49ers won the 3 that I went to. Gametime is a new feature. It's Gametime Picks. It will make it so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. It's good stuff. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. The closer you get to your event, the cheaper the tickets get. You get a panoramic view of your seat in the app. So download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. It is Gametime.
Who cares how I feel? It's about winning basketball games.
And the Warriors win the basketball game today. I mean, if I were to give you like a Mount Rushmore, a MySpace top 5 of wins this season, ones that stick out like a sore thumb would obviously be Dallas. It would probably be the first Oklahoma City Thunder game because they blew the 30-point lead and ended up, or I guess they didn't blow it, but OKC cut it down to 5. They ended up winning. I think that Houston game where Kuminga went off in Houston was an awesome win. So there's 3 right there. I'm definitely missing 1 or 2, but I mean, this is definitely on there. No doubt about it. Is it the best of the season?
Man, it feels like it right now. In part just because
so gritty. It was so gritty, man.
Well, and they're so depleted. The Thunder were playing so well. The Warriors were so not playing well. I mean, midway through the third quarter, Dave Pasch is talking about Steph Curry is about to set a record for the most missed shots he's ever had in a row or something like that, right? Like, even when they were hanging around within 10, yeah, but like, even then it felt like, boy, even if they do their best, they're not winning tonight.
You know
right?
what? I mean,
that's what the game felt like.
It felt like they needed to cover the 9.5 point spread. Like, that's what it was. They were going to be teetering all game, and there was going to be a backdoor cover.
Moral victory on deck, baby. That's what it felt like. But yes. So I think in that respect, the fact that you have Steph Curry struggling for days and he turns it on in the second half to help close the victory, the fact that Wiggins played so well, and given who you're missing and who you're playing against, yeah, this might be the best win of the season.
So coming up next for the Golden State Warriors is a home matchup against the Phoenix Suns. That is on Friday. Game on Monday against the Orlando Magic. I'm going to be in the house.
Hey,
doing a live show from the floor. I timed up.
What?
Yeah, I timed it up perfectly with the Magic in town. Also, may go to the Suns game too, honestly. So I'll be
really.
I'll be around. I may go to both. We'll see. But it's the Suns. It's 7:00. It's on ESPN. What are your thoughts on the Phoenix Suns right now? Let's just talk about kind of around the NBA as a whole for a few seconds.
Well, I was going to bring this up when we were talking about LaVine, because again, I believe in LaVine. I think it would be an interesting move that it's not easy to say one way or the other, but I think I would go for it. Bradley Beal is the argument against going for it, right? Because like you said, guys on a bad team, putting up a lot of points, doing a lot of good stuff, you have to decide what will that look like on a good team.
A good point, yeah.
And sometimes it looks like Andrew Wiggins in 2022, right? And other times it looks like Bradley Beal right now, which is a disaster. And moreover, like, the Suns' problem is something that I have heard referred to on many occasions as New Orleans syndrome, right? Matt Ishbia buys the team. And look, I'll say to Phoenix fans, you're much better off with Matt Ishbia and new owner syndrome than you were with the last guy who's just a piece of garbage, right? You want the guy who's willing to spend, but most of the dudes that buy NBA teams go a little crazy before they actually learn how to run the business of an NBA team. And I think that's the phase they're in. They put together a really flashy operation. It does not work as a basketball team. And I think they've shown that pretty consistently over the course of the year. Now, look, you put Booker and Durant on a team and they can beat anybody any given night. But overall, this is not a particularly good basketball team, and it's certainly an opportunity for the Warriors to get another win.
What sticks out from the game tonight, and it was mentioned in the chat by Ross he's on every comment, Kolsky. He's the Green Hornet, for those of you that don't know. Every single show we do, Ross is always there. And I can't figure out who he's a fan of. If he's just a Warriors hater and doesn't even have a squad. I've been trying to figure it out. We'll figure it out eventually, but he's not wrong there. The Thunder did miss a lot of three-pointers. How many of them were open? How many of those 9 for 39, those 30 misses can you attribute to just really good Warriors defense?
I don't know. I mean, they missed some, but it was good defense, especially in the third quarter. I mean, you said Buddy turned the game around, and he did a lot of good things on the offensive end, but a huge part of the flip in the third quarter was defense, and it was Looney and it was GP2. They locked in, and I mean, you could see that just in the fact that, well, what did the Thunder finish with, like 103 or something like that? I don't have the score in front of me anymore.
109.
There you go, 109. But some of those were garbage points late. Like, that's not a lot for the best team in the NBA. And with a couple minutes left, it was 98. This was an important second half defensive performance. And in that respect, a team effort. The more we're talking about it, the more convinced I am that this was the best win of the year.
Yeah, it was a really nice win. The secret sauce was in the house tonight. You know what the secret sauce is? I've said it many times on the show. Active listening, Kolsky. Active listening.
I think it's well established I'm a terrible listener. Was it 30 assists?
It's 30 assists. Great listener.
Yeah, it's a well-established secret sauce. You're right. That has been the secret sauce really for the entire dynastic run. And I can remember Steve Kerr talking about that as early as 2016. We want to get 30 assists a night, and we feel like if we do that, we're going to win. And the record when they have 30 assists has always been extremely good.
Good win for the Warriors, man. It's as simple as that. You can't make up ground with one win, but it's momentum. It shows you that they still have it in them to put it all together. I mean, that was just a team effort. Everyone played well. Wiggins led the charge. Curry did what he needed to do. The young guys stepped up and played some really good minutes and get the W over a fully healthy Thunder team. They
still missing their third best player. Unbelievable.
Chet. Yes, they are missing Chet, obviously. But in terms of guys that have been playing throughout,
he's been out most of the year
season and winning all these games, they had everyone. The Warriors missing two of their best guys. So hey, you're never going to apologize about a win. People tried to make the Warriors apologize about wins early in the season. because Jaylen Brown and Porzingis were out, and then Holmgren goes out in the game. But at the end of the day, we've seen how hard it is to beat the frickin' Toronto Raptors. Winning in the NBA is difficult. Just win, baby. This is Locked On Warriors. That's Matt Kolsky. I'm Chuck Walter. We will see you next time.
The greatness of the Warriors.